friends and family. All right, so I'm checking in. I think I'm at about 89, 90 hours of treatment. I've got my numbers correctly. And we'll get started on my little checklist and hit the status running. So eating, nausea is about the same as it's been. I've been able to manage it, as I mentioned the other days, by eating little snacks here and there. When I feel it coming on, I'm managing. So we haven't had taken any extra antianemics. The first dose is holding me over. Still have some mouth discomfort, so that is dictating what I'm comfortable eating. I actually had a childhood friend contact me yesterday offering to send me good food. I was like, I just want bland, disgusting food right now, so hospital food is perfect. Later in the day, it's definitely hard to find foods that I even want to eat that are palatable. However, on a bit of good news, they weighed me for the first time since I got here, I think, and it looks like I might have gained a few pounds, so I guess I am maintaining. What I don't know is any of that's just water weight from the prednisone, but we'll know that when I get home and I use my fancy scale. So we'll find out if that's just water weight or if that's a little bit, if I'm actually able to put some pounds on. So that would be good. Pounds are good for fighting. The naps, I did take another hour-and-a-half nap. That helped a lot. Allowed me to watch Rutgers get creamed by Nebraska. That was a lot of fun last night. Bag, 24 hours. Probably ran about 25 hours, and then they have rules. Okay, sorry, the doctor came in. I'm not sure where I left off. I think I was talking about the bag. So it's supposed to be 24. I think it came out about 25. Whenever it's like that kind of jumping, they're in and out in the night, so that's a little difficult for sleep. And then they have a policy here that you have to have 2 chemo-certified nurses when they do the bag switch, because it's, this whole process that they have to double check, triple check, and all these things. In addition, in the course of this week, I have personally chemo-certified a nurse that had done all her work, but she had to do 3 chemo bag changes. So she did 3 of my 4, and today she got certified. So now she has been added to the list of chemo-certified nurses. But what happened today was because the start time keeps getting pushed. They had to wait for the morning nurse to come while the night nurse was still here. The morning nurse came a little early, and I think that the bag actually changed around 6:30 a.m.-ish. So if all goes well, tomorrow morning at a somewhat reasonable hour, I will finish my last 24-hour bag, and then we will move on to the last set of antianemics and the last chemo, which is only supposed to run a half an hour or an hour. And then I'm still a little unclear about next steps after that, if they have to do additional labs or the labs they pull in the morning are enough. And if they think I'm doing okay, I might be able to go home tomorrow afternoon. If they don't, it might be Monday, but we're just going to kind of roll with it and see what happens. I am anxious to get home. I miss my family. But you got to go with what's the best, right? As far as the chemo and my effects, I'd say it's the same as yesterday. I'm definitely feeling it. My body's not very happy with me, but tolerable. So I'm not displeased there. Still got my 7,000 steps yesterday. Chemo brain, I think, was pretty good today. I didn't have lost words or any of that kind of stuff. Belly pain, I'm not even sure I'll mention that because I didn't really test it anymore. Labs look good. Risk passed, I talked about. The blood counts are starting to go down a little bit, as expected. So I think that concludes my regular statusing. Please let me know if you think there's something else you'd like to hear about on the regular statusing. I'll add it to the checklist. And also, I've been working, as I mentioned yesterday, on my YouTubing skills, and I added some art, hopefully to the beginning and the end of this video. We'll see if it works when I get there. Maybe it'll just be the end. And bonus points in the comments if you can figure out what the significance of the colors in the art mean. See if I don't know if that made sense. I made some art. I kind of crafted some art from somebody else's art legally, but I chose the color palette. And if you can figure out what the color palette means, gold star, and I'll note it in your comments if you comment below. All right, so I think that's it again for the status. Thanks for coming along for the status. And I wanted to hit on one of my special topics, extra topics. So lots of comments here in the hospital, again, and lots of comments in our comments on YouTube and social media and even text about my movement. I keep mentioning I got my 7,000 steps. So I wanted to just talk about that a little bit and a little bit about my philosophy. So again, caveat, these are my opinions. They don't represent any medical advice, but collectively they kind of do. And I think everything I'm going to say, if you went to our friend Google or talk to a medical professional, you'll see that they're mostly supported. I think all, but when I put them all together, it just makes sense to me. So I'm going to start off with, I'm not stepping 7,000 steps a day because I'm the crazy step lady that has to meet her step goal. And that's not to say that I have not been that person in the past. You can ask my family. There have been days when I'm doing a step challenge or trying to reach 1,000,000 steps in 3 months, and I'm walking around the house like a crazy lady, or walking on my treadmill desk while I'm at work just to reach my steps, even when I'm exhausted. But that is not the case right now. I actually have some reasons why I am walking around the halls of this hospital, and I hope to continue when I get home. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So there are several studies, some that I learned about when Bill was sick, that say that when you lay flat or have no activity, like bedbound, 1 day of laying bedbound is equivalent to 1 week of conditioning. So if I have to stay in bed for 1 day, now there are certainly medical reasons why you have to stay in bed. You know, Bill was intubated for 5 days. He wasn't going to get up. Bill was attached to machines that could not physically be moved. He had to be laying flat, and if, you know, that would be life-threatening for him to move. So I'm not saying that you should just get up, but there are many studies that show that when you're immobile, you lose your conditioning at a rate of about 1 day equals 1 week to recover. And they did the study, I think, on 20-year-old college athletes. So they were able to clearly measure what their strength and conditioning was, had them lay flat for 1 day, 2 days, up to 7 days, and they measured how long it took them to get back to their baseline. So it was pretty cool exercise. So that's one thing. One reason why I want to move. That's only one small reason, though. I think all of us know with COVID and a lot of discussion about mental health that moving, mostly outside, but even inside, helps our mental health a little bit. Just that movement, that activity, it helps things get going. So that's important as well. Let's see. Heart and lungs. I assume most people know, but when you're deconditioned, the first thing that deconditions is your heart and lungs before your muscles, like in your legs or your arms or whatever, because we need those to, that's a muscle that we use all the time. And when we don't exercise them by moving our body, then they decondition quickly. The good news is they also recondition the quickest. So when we start to move again, those are the muscles that first recover. Now that I'm basically hammering my system, right, with this poison, I need all that blood and oxygen to go where it needs to go. And as further comment there, chemo patients in particular, but many bedbound patients, are at high risk for clots. Actually, while I've been here walking the halls, I've heard of at least 2 or 3 other patients that were in and out for a couple of days because they had clots. And the reason why chemo patients have a higher risk, there's a couple reasons, but one is we're hammering the blood systems, right? They're fast. All of our blood systems are fast-growing cells, and the chemo's killing. It's not doing good things to them. And the second is that there tends to be an increase in your platelets, which causes more clots as part of the byproducts of all those problems. So clotting is a real concern, and those people that clot have to do Levinox or other yucky anti-coagulation type treatments, intense treatments for several weeks, and then go on to a anticoagulation drug like Eliquis or usually not warfarin because they don't like to manage that, but any of those anti-clot stroke type drugs you see on TV. And I just would prefer not to add any extra drugs to my regimen if I can help it, and if walking every day a little bit helps prevent that clotting, then I'd like to do that, right? Let's see. So, it's no secret that I am over 50. As an over 50-year-old, I just don't have as much muscle mass to start with. So anytime I'm not moving or using my muscles, they're going to deteriorate, and then it's going to take me that much longer to build those muscles back up. So I'd like to keep the ones I have, and I think, I'm not saying I'm running a marathon, I'm not, doing super duper exercise, but walking, I think, is a minimal exercise that engages your system and keeps those muscles intact, and that's why I'm pursuing that. Let's see. Sorry, I've got little notes here so I don't forget. Okay, so there is also studies that our lymphatic system, the system that moves, that helps with our immune system, that moves the extra fluids, not bloods, but the other fluids in your body to where they need to go so that they can be excreted and used, is benefits from movement. Some people say like a little bounce on an exercise ball for 3 minutes or other things, but walking even will the same equivalent, right? By moving our system, we're helping the bodily systems move stuff around. And then one big thing, especially right now with the chemo and everything that's going on, is that movement helps digestion. So there are digestive issues with chemo, again, because of the slowdown on the systems. And, think about a colicky baby when we bicycle her the legs to help get everything moving. It's the same concept. I'm just moving my whole body instead of bicycling my legs. And that struggle is real. Let me just say that. The digestive stuff is not fun. And then finally, I just took a quick look in my Fitbit data, and I did not just lower my goal to 7K when I came here. The 7K goal actually was lowered in September, October, when I just wasn't moving. And so I made the decision to move my goal to something that I can reach. So 7K's been there and it must have been, I didn't know that, but I was sick at that time, and my stamina was decreasing. I still wanted to move and make goals and accomplish goals, but so again, it's not a competition. And maybe my 7,000 goal is going to have to go down to 5,000 as I feel worse as we go along, or whatever. But I would like to make sure that I keep some movement as part of my protocol for my treatment, and that's where I'm coming from. Those are all the reasons why movement is part of my treatment, in my opinion. So thanks for listening. Thanks for your support as always, and we really appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, and if it works, if you click this button, I think over here, it's like round with a P in it, that should subscribe you to this channel. And there might be a square over here, and that's the playlist. Again, if it works. I don't know if my stuff works. The square on this side, and maybe it's vice versa. We'll see if I got it wrong. I'll fix it tomorrow. On the other side, that is the playlist. So you could see any of this discussion since I started. So again, thanks for coming along. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow.